Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 BMW M240i. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this coupe for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. This 240 is finished off in a skyscraper gray metallic with an MSRP just over $57,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6, only paired to the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. This model here is rear-wheel drive, weighs in around 3,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just shy of 4 seconds. Top speed with the M Sport Pro package is increased to 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.7 gallons. You'll expect to see 23 miles per gallon in the city, 32 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 107.9 inches. Its overall length is 179.4. It has a width of 72.4 and a height of 55.3 inches. Now for the 25-year model, there's not too many exterior changes compared to the previous model. The main difference is the M logo is now in the lower section of the grille. Up top, there's gloss black for the kidney design along with the surround with active grille shutters. So the middle section of that will open up to provide a lot of cooling to the components up front. Now this also has LEDs for all of the lighting. There's parking sensors up front and then some more inlets in the lower sections there to provide additional cooling. There's also a really nice line that comes down the base of the hood there just to give it a great look. Now this also has a two-tone design for the wheels along with the red M Sport brake calipers. There's the power folding side mirrors that have the turn signal. They're also finished off in gloss black. There's a full sunroof up top, and then the flush mounted design for the door handles. Now with the 240 as well, you'll notice the lower section of the side skirt there bulges out slightly, just giving it a really nice look along with the massive fender in the rear section there. Now this model also has gloss black for the trunk mounted spoiler. There's the backup camera, LEDs for the lighting. There's all the parking sensors too, and then more gloss black in the lower section along with dual exhaust on both sides. Now this also has remote start, so you can use the key fob to start it up and to shut it off. And then you can also use the key fob to open up the trunk. Or you can use the button up underneath and open it up from there. Now with the 240, you have a good bit of space in the back. There's a storage net on one side, so you can use that as needed. There's tie-down hooks. There's no storage or spare underneath the floor. And with this, you can fold down the back seats. So just pull those tabs on both sides. That will give you a lot more interior space to throw in some more items. So for this coupe, it makes it a lot more practical. There's also a grab handle on both sides, so that way you can easily close that trunk. Now as we work our way to the interior, this has a really nice design for the door panel. You'll notice the black with all the red stitching, Harman Kardon for the audio. There's memory seating adjustments, power folding side mirrors, window controls, trunk release, and more storage down below. And then this model also has a really nice two-tone design for these seats. Now they are automatic with the one manual support for the leg extension there. And to hop into the back, there's a manual release, but from there, the seat is going to work its way forwards, allowing you plenty of space to hop into the back. So at 5'10", it's really not all that bad. You get vents in the middle, along with a little bit of storage. There's some small armrests too. And then I am just barely touching the headliner here. So it's not a long road trip vehicle to be in the back seats, but I could ride around town and have a seat at least to be in, which is nice. Now, as you pull the armrest down, there's also 2 cup holders, and you can even fold down this middle seat individually. So you can gain access to the trunk from there. And then there's pretty thin pillars there. So it's easy to see around the entire back section there. And with the backrest in that back position, the seat will work its way to where it was. Now with my foot on the brake, let's go ahead and start this up. Take a listen to how this sounds. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, for this setup, miles per hour is on the left, tach is on the right, miles per hour, what gear you're in, is located right in the middle. Now on the right side of the steering wheel, there's volume, tuning, Bluetooth, and voice commands, and then right in the middle, you can push on this button to gain access to the rest of the content. So you can scroll through all of this, just depending on what you need to see. So you can pull that up right in the middle, and then you can even change the layout too. So if you want it in just a little bit different of a view, you can go through that and view it a little bit differently. Last one is for the head-up display. So you can go through a few of those settings there, again, depending on what you would like to see. Now this also has brushed aluminum paddle shifters. There's more of those accents, even a really cool design for the lower section of the steering wheel, where it now has a flat bottom design to it with all of the stitching. On the left side, there's all of the cruise control settings. On the far left, all of the headlight adjustments with a dimmer switch. There's one air vent. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, you have the home screen where you can swipe through some information over on this left side. And then in the lower section, this is all fixed. So you can get through all of these settings here, depending on what you would like to see, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you have a lot more. You can get back into home here, get into the climate adjustments, so you can go through all of those. There's a shortcut to the navigation and music, and then this also has heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and the temperatures for your driver and passenger. Now there's carbon fiber underneath that, along with some of the ambient lighting. Air vents in the middle. You have power and volume tuning, some defrosters too. There's wireless charging, auxiliaries and cup holders, and then even more carbon fiber for that entire lid and the surrounding trim accents, where there's more stitching, leather, and brushed aluminum too. Now there are controls down below, so you can go through all this information without having to use it as a touchscreen system, which is nice. And then let's put this into reverse, where this simply just has the backup camera along with the parking sensors. The 360 camera is an option. You have drive and sport mode, and then park located behind that. Now there's traction control, parking sensors, engine start stop, and a few different driving modes. So this will change your throttle response just depending on the driving that you would like to do. Auto hold and the e-brake is behind that, along with storage and auxiliaries. There's also plenty of storage in the glove box. And then garage door buttons up top, dome lights, and the controls for the sunshade and sunroof, as those are both automatic. And then here's a better look at visibility. Very large windows for your backseat passengers, which is also beneficial for your driver up front. As we set up behind the wheel now for the M240i, this is a very fun coupe to go with. In the 2 Series lineup, you have the 230, the 240, and you can go up to the M2. So we're sitting right in the middle for that lineup, and at its price, right around $60,000, you can, of course, spec this higher, so it can be in the higher $60,000 range, depending on the additional options that you go with. I think this is a really good vehicle for the money. You can also get all-wheel drive too, so just depending on the power that you want to put down with the all-wheel drive system, you have a lot of different options. Now, the only option you don't have is going with a manual transmission, so you'd have to bump up to the M2 if you want to go with the manual. But as we put this into sport mode now, even just in the normal setting, this has been shifting pretty quickly, pretty aggressively, without actually using the paddle shifters. So it's really nice that you have functional driving modes depending on how you would like to drive this. So let's pop it into second gear now, give it a slight acceleration. And this just wants to keep going. This is a very fun coupe that has a lot of performance and potential to it. Very similar to the Toyota Supra, which is kind of the Toyota version of this, if you want to say that. That does have a manual transmission, so I guess that would be another option if you didn't want to step up to the M2. However, with the Supra, you lose the back seats. So with this coupe, you get a little bit more of the practicality having a 4-seater, and you still get the performance. Now, as far as driving this goes, it's a very nice vehicle to drive. It's very smooth, very comfortable, as you would expect from a BMW sports car. Now, we actually had an M2 press car for a week, and we took that for about a 9-hour drive, so kind of similar to the 240 here, just we had the manual transmission with that one, but it was a fantastic road tripping vehicle. Even with the manual, I didn't have any complaints with it. My wife was super comfortable for the time that we were behind the wheel. So essentially this would be very similar. So that's the closest experience that I have with actually road tripping a 2 Series like this from BMW. This would make for an excellent daily driver, because if I just tone it back into Eco Pro, it gets a little bit quieter. The throttle response isn't there, and the gauge cluster actually changes. So now we're just looking at miles per hour. When I put it into sport mode, now we have a much different tach, and we have the gear indicator too. So you have a few different driving characteristics depending on what you plan on doing for the day. Seats are also very comfortable too. It's a nice sport bucket, kind of a touring style seat. So that is comfortable and it's just very nice. I love this new steering wheel too. The flat bottom design is functional for both entering and exiting and just giving it that cooler vibe. And the handling with the 240 is superb. Now, you could do some suspension modifications if you wanted to. You know, you have a lot more that you can do depending on the driving that you are doing, but just in its stock form, this is a fun backroads vehicle. And we're still in sport mode, second gear. Here we go. And of course, this has a lot more potential than what I'm doing today, but you can crank out some serious power with the 240. In its stock form though, it is still going to be a quick coupe. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the latest generation M240i. Paddles are also very responsive too. We have a very quick shifting transmission for this model, and you can really see that shine in sport mode. If I put it back into drive now, it even revs out just a little bit higher. It'll hold that gear a little bit. So if you're doing some more performance driving, you can do that, or you can just dial it down and be a little bit more comfortable, especially in stop and go traffic. So it's nice that you can cater the driving and the feel of it to the conditions and the road that you are on. But it's a very nice vehicle. This is something that I actually had one on order. I had an M240 last year. I decided to cancel it, just went a different way, but driving it again, this could be something fun to add to the channel. What do you guys think? My brother has owned two Toyota Supras. He had an automatic, he had a manual, and this would be kind of a similar platform. We just have back seats now. So a little bit more practical, and you can do a lot of the same modding and tuning to this. So comment down below. Just on a side note, would you like to see one of these on the channel? Maybe I should order another one. I thought about an M2. I'm just not ready to step up to that level as a second car yet. But the 240, definitely a great family style vehicle. Not the biggest, of course, but for a coupe, just gives you a little bit of added practicality. Put car seats in the back, put extra people. It also has a pretty tight turning radius too. So this is definitely a fun car. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.